In the run-up to the elections here in Kerala, most newspapers, hoardings and campaigns have revolved around the social welfare push of the Pinarayi Vijayan's government over the last 5 years. Amid all the social welfare schemes and talks around it, the focus is missing on jobs and attracting investment and industries to Kerala. Merlin Matthew is studying MA and will finish her course next year. But she's not sure if she'll land a job in Kerala. Similarly, Anand, who's interested in pursuing a MSc in physics, is not sure if he'll find a job in Kerala that would suit his master's degree. His family is advising him to apply for a government job via the Kerala Public Service Commission, although he's passionate about physics. These are some of the tough choices youngsters have to make amid allegations that Kerala has failed to ensure enough job opportunities for its aspirational youngsters.
They do a lot of things other than providing it to the youngsters. They give up, they had a very good response to the pandemic and all. But in the case of youngsters, I don't think they are doing very well. In Kerala, people have a common attitude that if you get a PSC job, everything is settled. You have your families, they're really safe from everything. So they're even having a situation in which they will only allow you to marry her daughter only if you have a PSC job. And the PSC jobs are really getting lagged right now. We are writing the exam in 2009 and we are getting the call letter in 2015 or 16, something like that. There are 5 or 6 years difference between writing the exam and getting a job.
Youngsters have to migrate to cities like Bengaluru or Chennai for job opportunities in the private sector. They say the government has failed to attract industries and startups despite having all the resources.
For example, Bangalore is a developing city, I think. In such a way, in Kerala, there are many cities, Calicut, Cochin, and so on. That cities also could develop in the same way. And why are not these cities developing? The same resources are also available here. If they too develop, if that development is possible only with the parties or the ruling political parties' influence, and if those compensate and they increase, absolutely that jobs will be available here and none of the youngsters will go to foreign countries.
Educationists say making students industry ready becomes difficult as the state does not have many companies or industries.
Students in terms of communication, in terms of industry skills, in terms of job skills. So these are the things which only be generated when they are having enough internships, enough exposures, enough industry tie-ups. But the education institutions doesn't have this kind of tie-ups with industries because the curriculum is not directly connected with industries. So in that case, the students will not get that exposure. So like what's happening in Chennai, what's happening in other cities, what's happening in other states, because the educational institutions are closely connected with industries. So in my case, I'm in Nilgiri College because my college, what I'm facing for my students, I cannot, if I wanted to connect or collaborate them with an industry, I should go to Mysore or should go to Coimbatore or Chennai. So there is no nearby facilities available for the students, so that the students will not be getting that kind of an exposure with an MNC or an industry.
According to the economic review tabled in the Kerala Assembly in January, the state's unemployment rate among the youth was 36%. That's more than the double of national average of 17%. This was the scenario before the pandemic. It's expected to have only got worse ever since. Be it the sex ratio, education, or sustainable development goals. Kerala fares better than national average in all these aspects, and it has been appreciated for long for such achievements. The LDF's campaign for the assembly election has centered around social welfare and pension schemes. It is only the manifesto that talks about creating 40 lakh jobs and making the state a hub for 18,000 new startups. It's not just the LDF which is going on a populist welfare scheme overdrive. Even the NDA and the UDF manifestos mention similar schemes. Having populist schemes in manifestos was largely seen in Tamil Nadu so far, but now it has been lapped up in Kerala too. Industrialists say the state has failed to break the long-held perception that Kerala has issues with labour and availability of space. Startups operating in the state say the government hasn't helped the new age firms to scale up and establish a full ecosystem.
When it comes to a complete product, it has to get integrated. Various components has to get integrated, and various modules has to be what is like you have to add many things to it, and then you have to take it to a different place. See, all these industries have to come together, and we should have in a smaller area. When I say smaller area, I'm not talking about maybe in 10 or 25 square kilometer. If things are available, which will be very easy for us. Now that we have to ship it to other state and then get it done. So there are a lot of logistic problem also there in that.
None of the political parties managed to give a roadmap on how they plan to solve some of these long-standing problems. Social welfare schemes are all fine, but what about our jobs and aspirations? Ask youngsters. But none of the political parties have an answer to that, at least not in this election. In Kasaragod, Harish Upadhyaya for the Federal.